guys, Towers here. Let's hop into some DMZ. No multiplayer, no raids, no co-op, just DMZ. What I'm going to do for you today is I'm going to take you through a couple weapons builds and a quick regain run in topside Moz. Call it topside because I will play Koche as well for regains, which is another zone, another map entirely that's underneath Mazra thematically. So I'm going to load in solo, and we had a successful exfil last time. I was running with a couple buddies. One of my buddies had just bought a soundboard, so apologies for that. The audio was quite terrible at times. He was blasting us with all kinds of sound effects, and so I do apologize for that. I have very limited control of the audio. I'm streaming from a PS4 Pro, so really all I have is the ability to turn the entire game up or down. And when I get in game, sitting here talking to you guys in menu, I'll have the game volume down so that you can make out my voice clearly, but when I get in game, I'll crank it up to 100, and that's to just give me better audio in game, so you'll have trouble hearing me, but I'll try to do my best to pick the right moments to speak to you and walk you through my play and my thought process as I'm going. And I'm going to keep myself on party only to just not broadcast to the entire lobby where I am and what I'm doing, but I will keep talking to you guys in party only. And if I do happen to get wiped and the team seems friendly, I'll open up the proxy chat, and I'll try to ingratiate myself with those fine fellows and try to get picked up and keep going. And whenever you do get picked up, just be aware that you owe your life to whoever picked you up. And so they become your shot caller. And so I believe that you do owe a debt of gratitude to whoever picks you up. And so you are obligated, in my view, to play however they want you to play, whether that be helping them with missions or hunting. And it's probably going to be hunting. And if you get picked up, you get a second shot at life, and if you die again, get wiped going into another hunt, even if you're ill prepared for it. Don't feel salty about it. That was your second chance, and that was a chance you didn't have before, when you were just laying on the ground pleading. So I recommend that you do play as a part of a new team when you get picked up. When I play in a squad that I've assembled or that I've come into, really a squad that I've assembled, if I'm going in, I'm trying to go in with buddies that I trust, that I know have mics, that are good communicators, good team workers, and I will tell my buddies when I go in, I'm a no pickup kind of guy. if you're if a guy is solo and you happen to kill him as a duo or a trio, and you know, and he seems okay, uh, sense-wise, not gameplay-wise, but if he has a good head on his shoulders, um, we can pick that guy up. But I typically don't like to pick random people up. You only have one extra slot to pick them up, to turn into a four-man, and even managing two other people can be quite demanding. So I generally don't like to pick people up as I'm going through, unless they, of course, are a solo and they want to be a part of your team. But I also don't like to. A lot of players use the plead system uh, as an information gathering system. They like to plead out because it gives you a third-person view that you can rotate around and call out um, the team that you're fighting, call out their positions. But the major drawback to that is that you can be that person that pleads and is working with you can be picked up by that enemy team or by anybody else, and it's always a pain in the neck to try to regroup with that person, and oftentimes that'll lead whatever team that has picked them up straight to your position. You're already at a numbers disadvantage, um, so that could more often than not that leads to a quick and untimely death. Um, so I generally advise guys that I run with just to not plead at all, uh, just to sit in, either my or the other guy's POV, and try not to backseat game too hard. Um, I at this point I have probably 1,000 hours in the game, maybe more, and I've been playing games all my life. I've been playing first-person shooters since the beginning of the genre, and so I have a pretty good sense of what's going on, what I need to do, and often I am the shot caller on my team, so I very rarely need somebody to call out, a step-by-step guide on what to do, where to go, who to shoot, things like that. So um, if you are the dead guy on your team, uh, less is more. Unless you're playing with a guy that's at a much lower skill level than you, at a much lower game IQ than you, um, and unless the guy explicitly asks for your input, uh, less is more. You can always call out something that you believe a guy didn't see. Maybe an enemy operator in the periphery, sniper glint somewhere, um, and hey, you missed a med vest back there. Hey, there was a self revive on that shelf. Hey, grab that deady right there. Use that for a ladder play, something like that. Those kind of callouts are really good, but you know, uh, anything else is just information overload. And remember, whenever you're speaking to your teammate, even if you're trying to help, um, you are overloading them on audio. So you're drowning out whatever in-game audio cues that they could be using to win the fight otherwise. So always remember that less is more when it comes to team comms, and especially as a dead guy, less is much more. So um, my last raid, we were able to get a couple good fights near Quarry. We were able to pick up a one of my guys that had gone off and done his own thing and got himself killed, and we were just able to barely scrape by the skin of our teeth on a Koshé exfil. And I always run those normal. I don't like to do the Koshé glitch. Um, the only thing the only glitch that I will exploit, and I'm not even sure if this is a completely unintended glitch or not, is the liquor glitch in Kosh for cash to up my wallet. And right now I have a little bit over 200,000 out of 700,000, which I believe is the max cap after all the passive upgrades if you don't spend any money on the game. So that may be something I'm going to be trying to do here for this regain run, but what I'm going to try to do for this regain run is show you guys the high-rise TAC 56 and hopefully have enough resources to bring that to a workbench, quickly modify it to my liking, and just staying on that note, we're going to take a look at the high-rise TAC real quick. So I've actually saved that build. I've reconstructed it using the gunsmith, and the high-rise TAC is going to look like this when you first pick it up. It's going to be a 5 attachment TAC 56. It's going to have, most importantly, a 60 round mag, the largest magazine capacity on this particular weapon. You're going to need every single one of those 60 rounds in DMZ. You're fighting against guys that have 3-plate armor systems, guys that are fully decked out, kill streaks, tuned out weapons, what have you. And like I've said before, each time that you're engaging a single operator, you have to think of having to kill that guy 3 times over to get a full kill. The first kill is going to be you breaking his armor plates. The second kill is going to be you taking his base health bar down to 0. And the third kill is when he's in a down state and you have to, what this game calls bloodthirst. That is just a full kill from a down state, and that is a kill all the way to 0 to where he's full dead. So each enemy operator you encounter, you have to kill him 3 times. That's a good little device to help you with your loadout considerations. And so on an AR, on any AR, you're going to want to go for the largest mag you can possibly fit on that weapon without hindering your weapons handling. So any AR you pick is going to any one of these ARs, the max magazine capacity is preferable. None of these ARs you're going to ever suffer for having too many bullets. You're always going to want more, and none of the max magazine capacity is going to be something that you're just going to have to bank on and build around. So you can always think of every AR as having one less attachment available for choice, for preference, because you're going to have to go with the largest magazine possible. Just to give you an example, the FR Advancer is a very high rate of fire weapon, and at its base it only comes with 25 rounds, and you're going to blow through that almost immediately. And I'll go ahead and turn down my audio for you guys real quick and load this just naked Advancer into the firing range, and if I can get it to not glitch out on me. Let's go ahead and reset it. And we'll take down this first bot at 10 meters. We'll go for the 20-meter guy. Go for the 30-meter guy. So that's all it takes to mag dump there. Maybe just over a second of sustained fire. And so if you're running the base magazine on something like the Advancer, you're going to be reloading, you know, more than about as much as you're doing damage. And obviously, if you're reloading, you're not shooting, so you're effectively cutting your damage output in half, maybe more. So you know, every weapon you'll have to level up with experience, with time in the gun, um, whether you know killing bots or that way. But that's a very, you know, that's the slowest way to do it, is to run around and loot. Um, but you're going to want to eventually get to, you know, the highest magazine capacity, 60 rounds on the Advancer, for example. So you guys just saw the 25 round mag. If we go up to a 60 round mag, we have the ability to be much more combat effective. And that's gonna the difference between a 25 round mag and a 60 round mag is basically, you know, over triple in terms of damage output. And that's really the case for every single AR. And SMGs are the same way, but it's not exactly the same, because there are some SMGs where you actually don't want to go for the highest mag possible. A good example of that is something like the Lockman sub. The Lockman sub or the MP5 will come with a base mag capacity of 30 rounds, and it does have an option for a 15 round mag, which you never want to use. Never ever use this option. And it does have an option for a 50 round mag, which I would actually advise you not to use as well. You actually, on the Lockman sub, you want to go for the 40 round mag, and that's going to give you 10 more rounds than your base magazine of 30. But the reason why you would want to go for a 40 round mag versus a 50 is, yes, you're getting, you know, 10 more rounds. You know, you're getting 20 rounds total over the 30 round base mag, but this is actually going to hamper your movement speed, your aim down sight speed, the quickness of your reload, and your sprint to fire speed. And you know, movement speed is probably obvious. Reload quickness is probably obvious, and what may not be as obvious is the ADS debuff you're getting and the sprint to fire debuff. Those are very important factors for an SMG. Your movement speed is very, very important, because your SMG is a running tool as much as it is a fighting tool. in this game. This game has very detailed uh, and in-depth weapons handling characteristics. So um, a an AR like this Advancer is going to be heavier to run around with than any SMG. Even without any attachments on it, you're going to be moving slower uh, as you traverse the map. And so for that reason, um, you're moving slower. You're also you're just heavier in general. So um, you won't get as much height or distance out of jumps, out of dive jumps, things like that. So if you're trying to make rooftop to rooftop jumps, um, there are many cases where you will not be able to make those jumps if you have an AR in your hand, whether versus a lighter weight weapon like an SMG or empty-handed with your fists out or with a pistol or something like that. So as you're moving and repositioning, and you constantly want to be moving and repositioning to gain positions of tactical advantage, like for example moving from low ground to high ground, or from different parts of high ground to other parts of high ground. You're going to be doing that with your lightest weapon or with no weapon at all in your hands. So you're going to be running and moving with an SMG. And if you've built out the heaviest possible version of your SMG, uh, like for example, um, this version, which is the SMG that the sniper boss in Koshé drops. This is a very heavy version of the Lockman sub. It has uh, basically a rifle stock on it. It has a 50 round mag on it. It has a vertical foregrip, and it has a suppressor on it. And everything except for the laser on this gun will weigh the gun down and will make your movement, uh, your sprinting, your tack sprinting, your even your walking speed, your running, your jumping, everything um, will just be heavier, and you'll be slower for it. So this is probably the heaviest possible way to build this gun, um, uh, unless it had maybe like a longer, heavier, extended barrel on it. And uh, that being said, this build, I've used it so much that it actually is a decent build for this particular SMG, but it is not a meta build by any means. It's not like a build you would want to uh, purposefully build out yourself. But as far as ground loot goes, that is a weapon that you're going to find in the world that's already built out 5 attachments without having to spend money on it to bring it to a workbench or bring it in as an insured, um, without having to without having to spend many resources. You can pick up a weapon like this as a ground loot weapon and be very effective with it. But again, this is not a preferred intentional build that you would want to do yourself. So what you would actually want to do is something kind of like this. You would want to get a 40 round mag on there. That gives you 10 extra rounds to play with, but it doesn't hamper your movement that badly. Um, you could throw a compensator on instead of a suppressor, which will still give you some recoil management, but it won't give you the added movement debuffs of a suppressor. Suppressors are just going to be heavier. They're going to make your time to go into a full ADS that much slower. Um, the sniper's build does have a laser on it, but it's more of an ADS laser. Here I've thrown on a hip fire laser, and so that will that's a good option for SMGs because um, an SMG is a close range weapon, so you're going to be using that, um, you know, uh, to in some cases to take out guys that are standing right next to you, you know. So in that instance, you wouldn't want to be ADS because you'd be more likely to miss shots than hit them, um, especially if the guy's moving, if he sees you, if he's doing everything possible to not get hit. Um, your ADS view is going to be slower than your un-ADS view. That is your right stick movement if you're a controller player. Um, so a hipfire laser is probably doing more work for you on any SMG than an ADS laser would be. So an ADS laser would be like uh, like the 7 milliwatt VLK, something like that. That's going to be you're going to only get uh, the advantages of that laser when you're in ADS or going into ADS. So it helps you get your sights on target quicker and track a little bit better, but it's not going to give you anything in a hip fire scenario. And you know maybe 30 to 50% of the time in a close range fight, you're going to have to go into hip fire, or you should have gone into hip fire at some point, especially if the guy is like within 10 meters of you, uh, something like 5 meters or closer. You're probably going to want to be in hip fire rather than a full ADS, and that's so you can at least hit some shots on him without you know without the potential of missing most of your shots in a close range tracking battle. So and then you might want to throw on like some kind of minimal foregrip. Uh, you could go for a vertical foregrip for hip fire, um, but I found that the really lightweight kind of angled foregrips give you sort of best of both worlds. It gives you ADS bonuses as well as hipfire bonuses without being too weighty. These vertical foregrips are going to just weigh more, so it's just going to make you slower overall. Um, but each weapon is different, has its own characteristics, and since the game's not being updated, it's always kind of now frozen in this state. There is a best possible build for every weapon, and it's going to take you time to learn that and figure that out. And the only way you're going to do that is if you have some flexibility and actually try out different attachments, and you're going to have to kind of marry that with your own play style. So and then for SMGs, I've been recently torn between armor piercing rounds and hollow point rounds. Armor piercing rounds will give you um, bullet penetration, which is always good, but is probably not something that you're doing that much of on an SMG. Because if you're using the SMG in or around a building, you probably have some kind of visual on a guy, and you're not trying to hit him through a wall or a floor or a ceiling. Um, and you probably are, you know, brushing shoulders with the guy already, if not face to face or across or down a hall from him with some part of his body exposed. So, um, but the armor piercing rounds are never a bad idea on any weapon except for snipers. But you really are going to want to use armor piercing rounds on. The other option on an SMG is to use hollow points, because hollow points will um, hollow points will give you the ability to cripple an enemy operator. And crippling in this game is basically forcing the guy out of a sprint or attack sprint, and it's slowing him to a walking speed. And that's only if you hit him in the legs. But um, if you're using an SMG and you are, properly hip firing at the right times, and maybe even intentionally going for leg shots on more long distance, uh, engagements, something between 10 to 30 meters, um, you are probably going to hit at least one shot on his legs, which will cripple him and slow his movement speed down, which will make follow-up shots that much easier, or make him miss a jump, or prevent him from rounding a corner in time to allow you to get more damage output on him, or give one of your teammates a better line on him. So hollow points are very, very good idea on SMGs. And that's about the only weapon type you would want to use hollow points on. You don't want to use hollow points on an AR. You don't want to use hollow points on a sniper, because there are just other better options. Like for a sniper, you would want to use a high velocity type round more often than not. And on ARs, you would want to use that armor piercing round for wall banging. That is, bullet penetration through what would otherwise be hard cover, in bullet impenetrable materials, um, or you would have very limited bullet pin without armor piercing. But anyway, getting back to uh, the tack. So this is the tack that you would find uh, on high rise, uh, on that second level outdoor, open patio area, that you'll often find an HVT bot with a bunch of tier 2 and 3 armored bots guarding. High rise is going to spawn in every game at the start of the match with an SPX-80 sniper rifle next to it at that second level open patio on the near the base of high rise, the main high rise building, with those tan triangular awnings. And that whole patio area is going to be to the east of high rise, on the east side, uh, in the direction of Police Academy, which is on the far east side of the map. Um, so it's going to come with a 60 round mag, which you're going to want to keep. It's going to come with a foregrip option, the FTAC Ripper, which you could also keep, but you could also choose to swap this out for something else. It's going to come with a suppressor, and it's going to come with a long, heavy barrel, and then finally it's going to come with a thermal, a holotherm optic on it. Now, I'm not a fan of the holotherm, especially on this weapon in this configuration. Um, I find that the holotherm just gives you too much zoom. It's about a 3x zoom. And on this weapon in this configuration as a PS4 player on controller, it's just too much zoom, and the sight picture is too clunky. It's too cluttered. So this is what the sight picture is going to look like. It's going to be very far in zoom, and your your reticle is just that very thin cross in the middle. So this is with holotherm engaged, and this is with the holotherm turned off, but you still get sort of a little bit of a, kind of a camera view, distortion of the colors. Um, but with this holotherm, you can see it really jumps around a lot. And that reticle, that really thin cross, especially if you have the holotherm turned on, can really make it hard to keep those shots on target. And besides that, the holotherm itself, the actual optic, the housing on the optic, is very, very big, and it's going to block completely players that are even, this guy is, 10 meters away, but even just angled up slightly, or to the side, it's most of his body's obscured here by the side wall of the optic, and his entire body's obscured by the base of the optic, and that what I think is like the battery pack on the left side there. So the holotherm optic is I would advise you to, if you are a holotherm player, and this is not because I'm a smoke player, uh, but maybe it's a little bit because of that. But if you are a holotherm player, try to use other optics or just the iron sights. You'll get a much cleaner sight picture, and you'll actually be hitting more shots when you can see what's going on, and you won't miss guys hidden in your optic. So if we just take that holotherm off, um, we can see, one of the best sight pictures in the game on ARs. The iron sights for the TAC are very, very good. They're very clean. It's a very clear front sight post, and the rear sight is just kind of this U shape, and it really doesn't obscure anything. It has a little bit of obscurity right below that sight, and you'll have to practice discipline if a guy is like drop shotting you and he's completely obscured by your sight, to un-ADS and re-ADS quickly to relocate him. But the iron sights on the TAC are very good, and I would suggest you start using them. It's going to save you an attachment slot, most importantly, and it's going to give you a very clean sight picture that you can hit quite long range shots on with relative ease. This guy's at 20 meters. That guy back there is at 30 meters. And I really have no problem hitting these guys. And you can hit shots at much further distances too, probably much further than you should. You can reliably hit shots at 40 meters and maybe even 50 meters or beyond. Um, I can finish guys at maybe up to 75 or 80 meters. You are missing a lot of those shots at 75 or 80 meters, but Sometimes it's just one bullet that's all you need to finish a guy off completely, and you can totally do that with iron sights on the tack. So if you don't have any extra cash on the workbench to tune out the tack to your liking, or to build it out to your liking, um, all you would have to do for the high-rise tack is just delete that optic, and you've got a very usable weapon right there. So this is as it comes from the ground, and all you have to do is take it to a workbench and just click delete, and that's it. And now you've got a 4 attachment, very good weapon. You're not really missing out on much by using it in this configuration. Um, and what I'll do if I'm pressed for time or other resources, I'll immediately delete that optic and run with it like that, or I can choose to go into an armor piercing build. And this weapon here is very powerful in all scenarios. The only thing it can't do is be your close range weapon, but it can reach out to all other ranges, to mid range and long range. Um, and because the tack is especially in this configuration, is not a good hip fire weapon, you never really want to be using it as a close range weapon, because of its abysmal hip fire, and because of its rate of fire, the rate at which you're outputting rounds. It's a relatively slow rate of fire. Um, but the advantage to that is that you're never going to run into ammo issues with this gun. Uh, you're always going to be coming across stacks of AR, whether be it from bots or just stacks of AR laying around the map. Um, or if you have muni boxes in your pocket. Um, this 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 AR is so has such a low rate of fire that you're not going to be hurting for ammunition as you would with something like an advancer that has a much higher rate of fire, and is a weapon that you actually will have to carry a full extra stack of AR in one of your inventory slots. So when you use a weapon like an advancer or an N13 Bravo, um, you will have to use one of your backpack slots for a stack of AR at all times, um, and that's because you'll be mag dumping this weapon a lot, and you're only going to get about maybe 4 to 5 full reloads in before you're completely dry and you have to find an emergency source of ammunition. And that could be the difference between a good raid and getting wipes. Winning a gunfight and losing a gunfight. Being ready for winning one gunfight, but not being able to take out the guy's teammates, or winning a team fight and not being prepared to take on a follow-up team fight. Every time that you're fighting, you have to think about third parties, other teams coming into that fight, and you have to be immediately, uh, as soon as you're done with a single gunfight or with a team fight, you have to be in a position uh, to rearm yourself for the follow-up engagement. So with a TAC 56, you don't have to dedicate a slot to AR ammo, and you'll very rarely run out of ammo completely on that weapon. So that's a big reason why it's one of my preferred weapons. So going back into the gunsmith, we'll find the high-rise tack, and again, uh, priority one is going to be to get that holotherm out of your way, go back to a very clean sight picture. Uh, the other thing that the iron sights are doing for you is that they're reducing your ADS time to as near zero as possible. So any optic in the game, even if it's like a very lightweight red dot, is actually going to debuff your ADS time. It's going to make your time to bring your sights up that much slower, even if it's something that's very small and lightweight. But especially if it's something that is much bigger and heavier, these will give you even more ADS time, which you don't want, and you really don't need a sight like this on an AR. You don't need like a scoped. You don't need a 5x. You don't need a 6x. You don't need to go into any of that on an AR. So priority one is getting rid of that optic and going back to the base iron sights, which gives you a better sight picture and gives you that much more time to calculate and line up your shots by getting into ADS sooner. And then for me, priority two is I'm usually I keep everything else because the long barrel and the suppressor actually add damage range and bullet velocity. So that is effectively boosting your damage output with the weapon. It's not necessarily making the bullets do more damage. It is kind of doing that, but it's giving you the ability to reach out further with that weapon and continue that damage on a longer trajectory. So priority two would be, besides deleting that holotherm optic, would be just to add armor piercing rounds, which gives you bullet penetration. Something very important on an AR. On an AR, you're not using that within a building. You're using that from the outside in. You're shooting into a building or taking out a guy from the outside of a building that's holed up within the building. So bullet penetration on an AR is critical, and you just get more of that with the AP rounds. You get truer damage going into that guy from the outside through a piece of hard cover than you would without it. And then right there, that's the complete build basically. And then the other a variation on that build would be to take away the underbarrel attachment and to add an ADS laser like the OLE5. And what this build is doing, it's doing the same thing as the build with the foregrip on it, but it's actually giving you just a better ADS time overall and more stability as you're aimed down sights. So the laser, the reason why we're using an ADS laser is to compensate for the ADS time loss that we're getting from the heavy barrel and the suppressor. And so that will just make your ADS that much quicker. Let's see if I can put them side by side real quick. You may not notice an appreciable difference, but let's see if we can make you a believer here. So this is the weapon without the foregrip. And it has the laser on it. And this is the weapon as it comes from, besides the gold camo, of course, as it comes from high rise without the optic, with the foregrip, and without the laser. And so I'll first show you uh, that first, the mod 1, and we've got this ADS time here. And then we've got the ADS maxed build. So it actually, it is a noticeable difference. You can actually see the difference, and this difference comes into play most noticeably when you're actually jumping, as if you were like jump peaking. It may not actually make that big of a difference in jump peaking, but definitely in a grounded position. And at all ranges, the ADS time is going to be a factor on an AR. So your ADS time is obviously very critical in a close range fight like this guy at 10 meters, but it also matters at 20 meters and at 30 meters, and it may make even more of a difference, uh, going out rather than in, because on a far range target, you're, you know, you're just going to be plainly missing more of your shots just because the guy is farther away. He's not a big of a target as he is if he's close in. So the sooner you can get your ADS in and your sights on target, the sooner you can start putting accurate shots on target. So this is the max ADS build. And this is just the slightly slower stability build with the foregrip. So we're going to just reset these real quick, just for peace of mind. I find that resetting my guns in between, using them in between taking them in, will often give me just a clearer state of mind to, I might want to switch up the weapon, might be having a run of bad luck with whatever weapon I'm using, or I might want to switch up my playstyle slightly depending on my state of equipment, or my teammates, or what kind of fights I find myself getting into throughout a play session. So if I leave my insured slots kind of blank like this, just with like a zero attachment, M4, it just gives me kind of a blank piece of paper to start writing on, rather than having uh, one weapon in mind in one particular configuration on all of my insured slots. So if I have all of my stuff set up like this, if I have the same gun in every slot, I'm gonna that's gonna be on the forefront of my mind, and that's gonna be the weapon that I'm it's gonna sort of gravitate me towards picking that exact weapon over and over again, even if I want to change up my playstyle or try a different weapon. So that's why I like to kind of blank slate myself on just like a zero attachment M4, and that's from there I can kind of your workspace is kind of a lot cleaner, and so you can branch out uh, more easily. You're not kind of psyching yourself into using a particular weapon or particular build. So this is what my contraband stash is looking like right now. I don't use snipers anymore, and I can kind of go into more depth on that later. But I did happen to pull these out because I often run with guys that do snipe, and so if I have a bag like I do now, um, I can take in a sniper for a buddy if he's down bad on if his insureds are blown out, or if he doesn't have any snipers in his contraband. If I know a guy on my team is a sniper, I can take in something like that for him, even though I don't use them. Um, you can always pull out a weapon for a buddy. Say he disconnects, his internet crashes out or whatever. You can just go ahead and grab his weapon and stow it, and just save it for him for the next round. That's always going to be appreciated. Um, so let's see if we can get into just a quick regain run, going on the high-rise tack, keeping that in our sights. And I'm a smoke and knives player, um, and since I'll be running this solo, I'm just going to bring in a muni box. Although AP rounds are a good choice solo. Um, so would an armor box be. But if you are using, if you're utility dependent, um, say for example, uh, if you were like a spotter scope player or something, uh, and uh, you know, spotter scope and frag grenades or something, uh, the muni box is probably not giving you that much utility versus other field upgrades like an armor box or AP rounds or even like a portable radar or something like that, or a dead silence, um, because you can find frag grenades anywhere. Bots will often drop them. They'll be in military crates. They'll be everywhere. They'll be on shelves. They'll be on the ground. You can re-up frag grenades everywhere, but uh, you're not going to be able to do that with like a throwing knife, and you won't want to do that on a smoke, because the smokes, when you start using them, um, you you actually become dependent on them. You have to have smokes in your inventory at all times if you're a smoke player, and that's because your whole play style is kind of centered around that. Um, Smoke is a repositioning tool. It's a cover tool. It's an offensive and defensive tool. Um, you can smoke yourself, but you can also smoke the enemy team to obscure their vision. Um, so if you are a smoke player, you will want to run a muni box, even with if you're running with other guys that regularly choose the muni box. You'll still want to have your own, just for that ability, right at the start of the game, to stow your own smoke, to empty that tactical slot, pop a muni, and then to get to make 3 smokes out of 1 right at the start of the game. And it's never a bad idea to have an extra throwing knife or 2 in the back pocket if you have the bag space for it. But that's one of the reasons I have finalized on the throwing knife, is because it's basically, if you can pick it back up, if you have a good idea of the trajectory it went, that's an infinite ammo weapon right there. So you can always pick up your throwing knife and have it ready for the next go round. It's not something you can do with any other tactical or with any other lethal besides, like a C4 or like a mine or something. But um, you can pick those back up, but obviously you're not going to be able to use them and pick them back up. So the throwing knife is the one thing that does that for you. Um, and then obviously the throwing knife it's a one-shot device in the upper torso or the head. So it gives you some counterplay in close range battles against like one-shot shotgun users, things like that, or even you know even if they're using other weapon types, it can very quickly create an armor break or a down. And one of the best ways to use the throwing knife is just to secure a kill very quickly, and so that you can reposition, take a position of advantage, or keep moving in an active gunfight. So I'm just going to I'll go over the my other gear preferences later, but let's take in 10K, and that'll get me just enough to finish off a high-rise build tack. So again, that'll give me just enough cash to take it from this state into this state, or into a state with a laser, instead of a foregrip. If I want to replace, not only the ammo type, but if I need 2 attachments rather than just 1. It'll also 10K will also give me a muni box right off the start, and it'll get me, it'll fill up my bag with plates. So from only 10K, I'll be able to get 1 or 2 attachments on a gun. I do have all my passive upgrades for the workbench completed, so they're like one attachment is going to be less than $3,000. It's something like I don't know, 2,600, something like that. I think it's actually less than 2,700. So I'm actually going to bring in, since we're going for the high-rise tack, I'm going to, let's see, should I bring in something like, let's see if we can do something like this, and I'll actually replace the compensator with a suppressor for that much more damage range and bullet velocity. And sorry if those clicks are loud. Save that as a V2, as a version 2, because I do like running the compensator, the Komodo Heavy, um, just to make it that much more nimble. But lately I've been kind of thinking about, because the M13 does not have the greatest damage, per round. So I'm just trying to think of ways to boost that. This is another modification of a ground loot gun, the chemist build. And just to top it off, we're going to throw in a lucky charm, and that should bring us some good luck there, the black cat. So we'll go with this build here, and that's the only weapon I'm going to bring in. I'm going to try to pull out, 2 more contraband weapons in my 2 free slots. But we're going to try to go for that high-rise tack, and I think we're in a good spot to get it. So let's go ahead and see if we can get any interesting missions. And this is looking okay, so we will load in a Mazra. This might turn into a Koche run if we spawn on the north side and we're in a bad spot. If we can't easily get to high rise, if there are a lot of teams in our way, we might just do a Koche run for cash and contraband. Otherwise, we'll go for the high rise tack and try to exfil after bringing it to a workbench and tuning it up a bit. So let's get in there. And as I load into the game, I'm going to turn up my game audio, so you will have a harder time hearing me, but I'll do my best to call out my thought process and my reasoning for you. In between gunshots and explosions. So I'm going to start to turn up my game audio now, so go ahead and turn down your headphones. Alright guys, we're loading into game. Just be advised it is going to be very loud, so don't boost your headphones just to hear me. You will get blown out if you do that.
Welcome to Al Mazrah. Explore, secure intel, and loot to gain access to new missions. Enemy threat is high, so expect contact.
So we're going to go right into Coach here. So we chose to go into Coach there because from that spawn, that's one of the worst spawns in the game. You're out in the middle of the open. If you have a fully kitted team that spawns on that desert airstrip directly to your east, they'll push right over to you and most likely wipe you. If they're coordinated, you'll also have a team that pushes you from what I call the police station spawn, which is just to the west of downtown Mazrah City. It's that spawn on the dunes that overlook the western part of the city. It has a police station very close to it, which is a good regain spot if you're naked. That team has a chop top that will enable them to third party that very spawn that I came in on. And so right away you've got a three-party team fight that you have to deal with.
Ultra One, we're getting comms interference. Advise you look for markings to navigate through the area.
So we're just going to do some inventory management real quick. Like to use smokes in Kosh. I don't feel like it gives me that much. So I'll switch to some other type of tactical. And in this gas spawn, this guy's talking to me already, so I'll This guy wants to be friendly, so I'll go ahead and give him the benefit of the doubt. Slots open for keys that I'll need to get in the backside of factory admin, which is where the buy station is. Just checking the recipe for the secure buy in case I want to build a weapon or a kill streak. Backing up for the suicide bomber that's going to rush me in a sec here. Checking for rad blockers here. Rad, I'm going to pop them. The second room is going to be behind the locked doors here. done with this room, so I'm going to go ahead and close this off just to save me time. And I know the key is going to be in here.
It's not going to be.
There's going to be a couple pyro bots in here. Sounds like there's a loot crate in here as well.
Ultra One, moving increased enemy activity. Ultra One, you've got hostile reinforcements incoming.
Here.
Ultra One, activity is increasing near your location. Stay alert.
So I'm done with this zone. So I'm just going to go ahead and close these doors. I don't need anything else here. And a brand new mask. Waiting for that suicide bomber. Second key in here, so I'm going to open up this door right away. See that bot run around back there? Got the second key. Not going to waste any more time in this room.
Ultra One, be advised, threats are moving. Ultra One, you've got hostile reinforcements incoming.
Taking damage here, but it's acceptable. It's only one plate. So now I've got both my keys. So I'm done in this zone. Some extra plates. Now I'll switch to offensive lethals, or tacticals rather. And I'll go ahead and stow these mollies as well. Just gonna look back to this. More cash and utility. Looking for AP rounds in those military crates. Thinking about building a riot shield. Delta board, just need one more Delta board for riot shield.
Ultra One, be advised. Hostile activity. Ultra One, we're seeing increased activity in the area. Stay sharp.
Doors this way to give me a quicker exit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep that res pistol as a backup selfie. I think I need lab code book for these. My beta board. I'll continue this in proxy, see if I can pick this other player up, and I'll try to keep my my commentary to a minimum because of that.
رح روح وشوف شو فيه.
نبني ذخيرة كمان. عم يحتموا. جمهور احموا حالكم.
Ultra One, be advised, threats are moving. Ultra One, you've got hostile reinforcements incoming. Ultra One, activity has increased in the area. Keep your eyes open. Be advised, hostile activity. Ultra One, you've got hostile reinforcements incoming. Ultra One, be advised, winds are picking up. Move to an extraction point. Activity. Ultra One, you've got hostile reinforcements incoming.
Turn down your headphones, turn down your headphones.
All Ultra, communications resecured. Work down there.
Turn down your headphones, guys. We blasted one more time. Well, I think our poor solo friend either got killed by bots or lost connection to the game. As you saw when we loaded in there for that topside Mozzie run into Kosh, we had because of the time of day, we had to load into a 124 ping server. So I imagine that our poor friendly solo player down there with us in Kosh we were communicating with um, uh, probably just lagged out, and that's probably why that's probably whose loot was on the ground there. I didn't pay attention to the name. I was afraid that maybe they had gotten killed by some hostile players that weren't announcing themselves, or something like that. So I was kind of on guard there, and I went radio silent just to protect myself, because although that person did seem friendly, they were willing to communicate. Um, I didn't want to bank on that and have them stab me in the back by calling out my position or actively searching for them. So, um, oh, that's why I was we some Call of Duty update was downloading for game modes I don't even play anymore. I only play DMZ, but that's why it was so laggy for me, at least towards the end. There it was very stuttery, but yeah, we went right into Coach there because of that very bad spawn, especially as a solo. But even if you're kitted out, you can easily get trapped in a third-party situation up there. And if you're facing off against a good team that knows what they're doing, that's holding that desert airstrip with the watchtower and that RPG bot up there, they'll usually climb the watchtower, grab the RPG from the bot, and then use that to um, to disable your push there, to kind of counter push, using the RPG to disable whatever vehicle that you're riding in with, or at least get armor breaks that way. But that was a successful regain run. Although we didn't get the high-rise tack as we were intending to, we kind of had to just play the cards that we were dealt. Um, I did grab their uh, fully built out Hemlock, which we'll take a look at in a second. I grabbed a one of the best SMGs in the game, the Vel. Has very low recoil, especially when built out correctly. Very high rate of fire, very good mobility, and it's actually when built out correctly, it kind of does double duty as an AR as well, because it has absurdly long reach for an SMG, especially with that with the long barrel. I think it's like the 228 barrel. We can take a look at that as well. But this is just a naked Vel. But even in this state, it's a very good weapon, even though it only has 40 rounds. Um, and we still have our insured. I probably could have dropped that insured for just more contraband. Probably could have taken out that person's sniper um, for a teammate in a future raid, or just some other ground loot weapon. I probably could have held onto that Lockman sub if I was thinking. Drop my insured for it. You will always get your insured back. So people act like their insured weapons, are cast out of gold, and but the insured that's the whole point of the insured, is that it's insured. You'll get it back. So you're never losing anything when you bring in an insured weapon. But we'll take another look at the N13 build as well. It's again, it's not a high damage per round weapon. It is a good damage rate weapon because of its fire rate. And weapons do behave differently if you're using them against bots versus enemy players. Some guns are great against bots, but absolutely suck against enemy operators, and vice versa. And that's another reason I like the TAC. It's very consistent between even tier 3 bots and enemy operators. So you have, it's very, shallow learning curve to start using the TAC if you haven't already. Um, and we, depleted our lethals and tacticals as we were just surviving that elevator exfil, and we managed to hold on to the res pistol. We didn't have to burn any selfies there or go to a backup selfie. Um, and I chose to, although the PA is my preferred uh, kill streak, for reasons I'll go into later, but I chose to switch out to the advanced UAV. Sometimes it's just too good to pass up. And on my next playthrough, I intend to go through with a team, just as a normal, hunting party in topside Moz. So that advanced UAV is going to provide just a lot more utility uh, than the damage kill streak of a PA. Although it's typically the opposite for me. I'd like to uh, secure precision airstrikes over UAVs for reasons I'll explain later. But um, let's see if we can just going into uh, our modified chemist build for the M13 Bravo. Um, Same thing with the TAC that we were looking at earlier, which is a modification of the high-rise build, a ground loot weapon build right there that we've just modified by taking off the optic, replacing that slot with armor-piercing rounds, um, and then alternatively taking off the foregrip and replacing it with the laser for better ADS and weapon handling, for just a bit of a snappier, more mobile weapon. Um, Going into the M13 Bravo, so this is the weapon that you'll find off the chemist, the boss that spawns in the gas at the start of every match in Masra. Let's see if I can get it to load in for you guys. All right, it's not gonna show me a picture of it, um, but the weapon will come as a 5 attachment build. The good parts of the build are going to be that long 14-inch barrel, the ADS laser, the 7 milliwatt VLK, and the 60 round mag. And those are the 3 attachments that you're likely going to want to keep. And then same thing with the high-rise TAC. It has a goofy optic on it. It has a high zoom optic that you don't want to use for a weapon like this. That it's a very high rate of fire. It's more of like a medium range to close range AR. And again, the irons on this weapon, like the TAC, are very good. They're very clean, and it's very quick ADS time if you don't run an optic, if you just use the iron sight. So just go ahead and delete that optic off of there, and go ahead and delete your high explosive underbarrel attachment as well. So that frees up 2 attachment slots for you, which you can use to, like I do, I'll put on armor piercing on any AR, and I'll also choose either a compensator or a suppressor, and I tend towards the Echoless 80 for suppressors. It's not too heavy and bulky, um, but it still gives you that bullet velocity and damage range, most importantly, as well as the sound suppression. But the sound suppression is kind of a giveaway these days. Most people know if they hear the sound of a suppressed weapon, to look out for enemy operators in the area, within a certain range. So guys also like to use the Harbinger D20. That's just a heavier suppressor, and I don't like that type of suppressor on a weapon like the M13 Bravo because it's um, already with that long barrel, um, and because of its because of its damage stats, which is not the best. Um, the M13 Bravo ends up being a more close to medium range AR rather than like something like a TAC, which is like a medium to long range AR. So I just want the weapon to be a little bit more snappier and responsive. So I'll choose to go with a uh, slightly lighter suppressor like the Echoless. Um, but that's it for the AR. And if we can go into, if we can find that person's Hemlock. Um, Here it was, the Liquid Hot. Uh, the Hemlock is a very good AR. It has a high damage per round stat, so you are it's only a 45 round at the maximum, but you are getting a lot of damage per round there, and I would not suggest going into the blackout options like this person has. And there is a glitch in the game that if you try to change the mag or the ammo type, um, it'll revert back to uh, the armor piercing. It'll kind of be stuck there, so you'll have to delete both the mag and the ammo type to get back to a mag and back to the 5.56 NATO, which is a much higher damage rate and much higher bullet velocity, as well as a higher fire rate on the weapon as well. So the 300 blackout for this particular weapon will it'll actually lower the rate of fire, which is not good, and it will it'll be slightly more punchier at closer ranges, but you'll lose like a whole bunch of bullet velocity, which is terrible. So you'll really have a hard time hitting targets at medium to long ranges, and that's where this weapon really shines. This is a more of a medium to long range AR like our TAC. It has a very similar fire rate as the TAC as well. Um, just you have less rounds to play with here, 45 versus 60 on the TAC, and but the damage rate, the damage per round is very very good. Um, so 45 rounds will do a lot of work for you. Um, and besides that, besides the choice of ammo type, the blackout rounds, this person has built their Hemlock well. They've put an optic on it. The iron sights on the Hemlock leave a lot to be desired. They're not good, and I'll go further into that in a later video. But you do want the long extended heavy barrel on the Hemlock, the Fielder T50, as this person has chosen, and it also has my preferred suppressor, the Echoless 80. That'll give you again more damage range and bullet velocity, in addition to the sound suppression, which is these days is really more of a hindrance um, than a benefit, but that extra damage range and bullet velocity are really good. So I'll keep the suppressor, I'll keep the heavy barrel, and I'll keep the optic. But unfortunately, I'll have to do work to repair that ammo type. So I'll have to delete both the ammo type and the mag, and then reattach the 45 round mag uh, and put on just the normal 5.56 NATO ammo type with the armor piercing variety, and that'll be the finalized version of this 5 attachment Hemlock. And if I can go into my uh, gunsmith to show you my hemlock. Um, this would be kind of a similar version. Um, on this one, because the damage per round is already so good on the hemlock, and because I've chosen a suppressor and the heavy barrel, I went with a laser on this version. But you could, if you wanted to, you could, uh, you know, kind of play around with the suppressor or laser options if you really wanted to squeeze out that extra damage from the AP rounds. But I think I have a camo that I'm working on for suppressed kills with the hemlock. This is a version without the suppressor, so that frees up a slot which I've uh, chosen to put AP rounds on instead of that suppressor on this one. Still with the laser, just because we're using that heavy barrel, and we're also having to use an optic with this weapon. So those two will slow down your ADS. Um, so I've gotten a little bit of that back with the laser. Um, but I'll use those weapons in the future. And this one I started using the hemlock a lot more because I just had enough COD points from, again, I've never spent a single penny on the game, but just from playing through the when this game was still being supported and still had updates, you could get COD points from uh, playing through the unlock map, the just from like the seasonal updates, the seasonal challenges. So I had accrued enough COD points to get like uh, uh, one like booster pack, and I chose to go with the Crater Maker, um, which gives you a P890, I believe, um, and a Hemlock, both on a 15-minute cooldown for DMZ. So that came in handy um, as a reliable insured weapon, um, especially with when my uh, when my insured slots were on like maximum cooldown before I had completed all the um, uh, cooldown reduction passive upgrades, and I still don't have that 100% for the third one because that requires uh, uh, more cigar boxes from Ashika, and Ashika is just full of cheaters these days. I call it Cheater Island. It's really bad for that. Under the map glitchers, cheaters, hackers. So I only play Al Mazrah now. That map is just so much more enjoyable, and you have a lot more time and space to separate yourself from very sweaty teams or even glitching and hacking teams. You have a better shot of getting out alive, resetting, getting back into a future raid with uh, more honorable players. So um, if I'm really down bad on contraband, or uh, I'll start falling back to the 15-minute Crater Maker Hemlock, and I've been playing between these two builds, a suppressed build and an unsuppressed build, and I'll go into that in the future. Um, and then just finally, we got just a naked Vel out of that run. Vel's one of the more popular SMG choices for good reason. Like this is one I picked up off of an enemy operator. Uh, you'll often see them built out with the full 60 round mag option, which I don't like to run because I don't run the Vel as my primary weapon or as a single weapon. Um, I'll use it as a support weapon for an AR in a SMG AR combination. So I don't need those extra 10 rounds, and I want the extra movement speed, the reload time, and everything else that a smaller magazine will give you. Um, so I'll go into. I haven't been playing with the Vel much recently, intentionally. Whether the only time I'll use a Vel these days is if I'll pick it up off a guy. Um, and the first thing I'll do is I'll slap the 50 round mag on there, even if it has a 60 round mag, if I have the resources to do so. But even in a naked configuration like this, the Vel is a very strong weapon. Again, very high fire rate, so that means it has a high damage output and consistent damage output. Very good mobility, and bizarrely, very long range too. Uh, with the barrel, which I can find. Actually, oops, sorry. Um, with the Tango 228 barrel, that barrel will give you the longest damage range possible, along with higher bullet velocity, which is bullet velo on the Vel. To my understanding, is already very good. It also gives you better hip fire accuracy, which is always great on an SMG for reasons I explained earlier in the video. But um, but yeah, that 50 round mag. I do have armor piercing on this particular build. I might switch uh, to hollow points in the future. Just a little rear grip for a bit more recoil control. You can swap that out for uh, maybe something like the demo stock for even better mobility, for most importantly the sprint speed, and better ADS with a little bit of a drawback in your recoil control. But the recoil control on the Vel is already very good, so I feel like that may be worth the sacrifice there. Um, and then a compensator just for recoil control. You know, you could choose to run a suppressor on this, but that just keep in mind that's going to make your ADS time slower on an SMG. That could be a game breaker. Um, you know, that could get you killed. So I have a lot more work to do with the Vel, and a lot more practice and a lot more hours to put in with the Vel to before I get really good at it. But if you want a great Vel build, if you're a PC player at least, look to Quix. Quix has started bringing in a Vel as his primary weapon, as his only weapon, as an insured. Um, and he's built that thing out to where it's basically it's like a reverse cast-off 74U. It's an SMG that's also an AR, whereas a cast-off is an AR that can also double as an SMG. So it's a hybrid weapon, basically two weapons in one. Um, so that'll do it for this one, guys. Thanks for sticking around. I hope you learned something, and I will catch you guys in the next one.